Hello, welcome back to Blender Sushi Live Nodding. In this episode, I'm gonna study this furniture design by Stellios Moussaris. And I saw this design the other day and really interested with this one actually. Oops. Yeah, this one. I don't know what it's called, but it looks like the design that's inspired by movie Inception. And Stelio actually made quite interesting furniture like this rocket one. But the one that I am thinking to try to recreate kind of roughly using Sverchok Add-On in Blender is this one. Well, actually this one with the table and glass. Okay, this is what I came out with. So what you see here is actually there is a grease pencil. You can see the green color there. A single grease pencil strokes that I can recreate many times. So this is the original design. I roughly kind of try to mimic the design. This one is kind of I get the wrong normal pointing the other way, and this one is kind of variations of it. I could actually at any point go to the side view and then try to make something slightly different, but the design is still similar. What's gonna happen is then once I update it, we get the design. Although you might notice the normal is kind of flipped, and I believe it's because of the normal flip somewhere here. There you go. That's sometimes with the normal, it's kind of tricky for Sverchok, and it's something to keep in mind. So let me try another design. So something that looks like a bouncing ball, and then update it, and this one is kind of correct. The funny thing is that we get a lot of kind of variations of a single design based on this one. Of course, I just follow it roughly. So this is more like exercise for me, but I'm gonna share the breakdown of the notes. It's actually very interesting. It took me only a couple of minutes to do this, so I thought, okay, because of the design, it's really simple. It's basically you just draw a profile, but this part actually has some kind of like a tapering. It's almost like a surface of a pizza, but you kind of bend it along that profile, and it should be pretty basic and easy to recreate. Of course, I simplified the building part, but here you go. So I started with a grease pencil stroke, right? And then I resample it as usual. I can have more or less for the curve. And then all the way, this is like the usual drill for resampling the grease pencil stroke. And then I have actually I have a smoothing here, so there's a little bit of smoothing happening, so I have a better looking curve. And then what's happening next is I'm using range float to control the radius. So for this guy right here, I could actually change the radius. If you look at it, it's almost like a tongue, like a teeth and tongue. But I found it's kind of interesting remix of this design. It's not exact copy. I'm not sure what the original designer will think about this, but kind of interesting. And so the next thing I did was to use polyline viewer, and this guy will actually generate a curve. And based on that curve, you know, just like a lofting of this surface, based on that curve, I bring it back into Sverchok and then adding some kind of thickness. I have flipped the normal, and I think I have solidified down here. So this one is for the thickness, right? And for the teeth, I'm using this multi extrude alt. This is from Add-On. It's actually, this was kind of ported by one of Sverchok developer. I think Zephy did this, and he made it so it's kind of pretty easy for us to do this, like a random extrusion, right? So that's for the teeth part. We can randomize it, increasing the teeth or decrease it. And yeah, so that's gonna be for that part. For the next bit, the table, the glass table on the top, that's actually procedural as well. It's changing depending on the boundary, the bounding box of the table itself. So it's kind of always aligning to the top of the design, and it's gonna adjust the size based on it. So like I said, the flipping is something needs to be adjusted manually, but everything else is pretty much procedural. This guy, oh yeah, I have actually control over the actual teeth placement, so that's interesting itself, and it's a bit weird, but kind of interesting to study this anyway. Yeah, the bounding box looks something like this. It looks kind of complex, but it's actually not that complex. I basically pick the corner of the bounding box and get the center point, I think. And yeah, once I get the center bounding box, the top part of the bounding box, I just create a plane and then solidify it. See, there's a plane over here. I can kind of scale. Instead of having it as one will be like the exact top boundary. I scale it a little bit, so now it's a bit better. Okay, so yeah, that's actually pretty much it. This one I don't need. Oh, what is this for? I don't actually need that part. I'm gonna save this. I save it inside Dropbox. Save it on the desktop. Okay, let's go. Let's see what happens here. So I pick the corner index, get the distance. This is to get the width and depth of the plane, but this one is the corner, I believe. I get the center of the corner, so I get the center pivot, and everything else, this is just the normal solidify or extrude. There's another scaling. I don't need to scale that, but yeah, so this is just, like I said, just a simple exercise. The design is really based on this design by Stellios Moussaris, and yeah, I wish I could just print this out. I don't know, maybe just make it for myself, just to place maybe like an iPhone holder or something. It's a remix of the design, but I don't know, maybe I should ask him and what he thinks about this if I print it out. So yeah, that's a quick procedural exercise and a note tree that I want to share with you. Hopefully this is useful. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.